In a world overwhelmed by constant noise, flashing notifications, and the insatiable hunger for attention, the greatest strength you can ever cultivate is the ability to turn inward and cherish the quiet sanctuary of your mind. Silence is often misunderstood, feared even as an empty and hollow space. But those who embrace it know that silence is not a void. It's a wellspring of insight, a gateway to profound self-awareness. Buddha once said that silence is an empty space, and within that space lies the awakened mind, a mind that is free from the need for constant validation, a mind that finds power in stillness. There's a kind of freedom in embracing this concept, in realizing that the external chaos is not what defines you. What defines you is the still, unwavering sense of self that exists when everything else fades away. Imagine waking up each day with a mind free from the weight of external opinions. You move through life not seeking approval, but finding contentment within yourself. Your thoughts are clear, your energy is preserved, and your heart beats with a calm rhythm of inner peace. This is not a fantasy. It's the result of intentional practice, a dedication to the art of self-awareness and focus. Silence is the bridge between the noise of the world and the wisdom within you. Once you redefine what silence truly means, you'll find that it's not something to run from. It's something to seek. It's the place where you shed your doubts, recalibrate your goals, and remind yourself of who you are beyond the expectations of others. The journey begins by changing your relationship with silence. Many people see it as an uncomfortable absence, a void that needs to be filled with conversation, music, or distractions. But those who walk the path of wisdom understand that silence is the ultimate teacher. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't judge. It simply allows you to observe your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, without the filter of external noise. When you allow yourself to sit in stillness, even for a moment, you begin to notice the subtle layers of your emotions, the hidden fears that you've buried, and the dreams that you've neglected. In this silence, you don't react impulsively, you reflect. And in reflection, you find clarity. Consider the power of this redefinition in your life. Imagine carving out moments in your day where you disconnect from the world and reconnect with yourself. You sit by a window, feeling the breeze on your skin. Or perhaps you take a walk through a quiet park, listening to the rustling leaves instead of the constant chatter of notifications. These small moments of silence are not insignificant. They are the foundation of your inner peace. Over time, what once felt like an uncomfortable stillness transforms into something you cherish, a refuge where you regain your strength. This shift from discomfort to appreciation mirrors another important lesson: the transformation of loneliness into solitude. At first glance, these two states may seem identical, but they are vastly different. Loneliness is a longing for something external, a void that begs to be filled by the presence of others. Solitude, on the other hand, is a conscious choice. It's the decision to embrace your own company, to sit with yourself, and be okay with who you are. Many fear being alone because they equate it with isolation and abandonment. But in solitude, you are anything but abandoned. You are embraced by your own thoughts, your own insights, and your own growth. In solitude, you have the space to explore your inner world without interference. You can reflect on your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses, and work on the areas that need healing. There's a sense of liberation in this kind of self-reflection because it's not driven by external pressures. You're not trying to meet someone else's expectations or fit into a mold that society has created for you. You're simply being. And in that state of being, you nurture self-love. You realize that you don't need anyone else to validate your worth, because your worth has always been within you. This newfound appreciation for solitude changes the way you interact with the world. Instead of fearing moments of stillness, you seek them out. You find joy in reading a book that inspires you, in meditating to deepen your understanding of yourself, or in simply sitting under the sky and watching the clouds drift by. These moments aren't about productivity or achievement. They're about existing in a state of peace and contentment. And the more you cultivate this inner peace, the less you depend on others to fill your emotional needs. You become self-sufficient, and with that comes a deep, unshakable confidence. Silence and solitude together become a powerful combination, a shield that protects you from the chaos of the world. When you learn to embrace them, you also learn the strategic value of silence. Far from being passive, silence can be one of the most effective tools you have. It allows you to pause, to observe, and to understand situations on a deeper level. Think about the moments when someone's words have provoked you, when criticism has stung, or when negativity has surrounded you. What was your initial reaction? Was it to defend yourself, to argue, to prove your point? But what if, instead of reacting, you chose silence? Silence in those moments is not weakness, it's strength. It's the ability to control your energy and decide where to invest it. When you choose not to react, you protect yourself from unnecessary conflicts and emotional drain. You demonstrate patience, self-confidence, and wisdom. You show that you understand not every situation requires a response. Some battles are won, not by engaging, but by observing and walking away. In silence, you allow others to reveal their true intentions. You listen more deeply, and with that deeper understanding, you navigate relationships with greater clarity. This strategic use of silence doesn't just apply to conflicts. It's a valuable tool in every aspect of life. It teaches you to pause before making decisions, to reflect before taking action, and to consider the long-term impact of your choices. By giving yourself this space, you avoid impulsive mistakes and instead make thoughtful, intentional moves that align with your goals. Silence becomes more than just a pause in conversation. It becomes a form of power, a way to regain control over situations that could easily spiral into chaos if handled impulsively. When you refrain from reacting to every criticism or insult, you maintain a level of composure that most people struggle to achieve. Imagine someone hurling negativity your way, expecting you to respond in anger or defensiveness, only to be met with your silence. In that moment, you have the upper hand. You've shown that their words don't have the power to disrupt your peace. And in their confusion, they reveal something important. You were never the one who needed to change. They were the ones seeking validation through conflict. This kind of restraint is what allows you to shift your focus from seeking external validation to internal growth. Too often, we fall into the trap of needing others to confirm our worth. We post on social media, waiting for likes and comments to make us feel good about ourselves. We seek praise from our peers and approval from our loved ones, as if their opinions hold the key to our happiness. But the truth is, this constant need for validation is a form of self-sabotage. It keeps us chasing something that is always just out of reach, because external validation is fleeting. One moment you have it, and the next it's gone, leaving you craving more. Buddhism teaches us that true self-worth comes from within. When you stop looking outside yourself for approval, you reclaim your power. You no longer depend on others to tell you that you're doing well. You know it for yourself. You feel it in the quiet satisfaction of your own progress, in the pride you take in your personal growth. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with small steps. Set goals that matter to you, not ones that are designed to impress others. Celebrate your achievements privately, without needing to broadcast them to the world. Remind yourself that your worth isn't something you need to earn. It's already there, waiting for you to recognize it. As you focus on your own journey, you'll find that external validation becomes less important. You'll stop comparing yourself to others and start appreciating your unique path. Your confidence will come from within, built on a foundation of self-assurance rather than the opinions of those around you. This kind of inner confidence is unshakable because it's not tied to how others perceive you. It's tied to how you perceive yourself. Another powerful lesson in the art of silence and self-focus is knowing when to withdraw strategically. In life, we're often taught that persistence is key, that we should keep pushing forward no matter what. But there's a difference between perseverance and stubbornness. Sometimes, the most effective way to move forward is by taking a step back. This doesn't mean you're giving up or admitting defeat. It means you have the wisdom to recognize when a situation, relationship, or habit is no longer serving you, and the courage to let it go. Strategic withdrawal is about creating space to breathe, to reflect, and to realign with your true purpose. It's about acknowledging that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every connection is meant to last. When you withdraw, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You're able to see things more clearly without the pressure of immediate engagement clouding your judgment. You can evaluate what's truly important and what's simply draining your energy without offering anything in return. This act of stepping back is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It shows that you value your well-being enough to prioritize it over the expectations of others. In a world that constantly demands your attention, knowing when to withdraw is a revolutionary act of self-care. It's about protecting your energy so that you can invest it in the things that truly matter: your personal growth, your dreams, and your happiness. There will be times when social interactions feel overwhelming, when workplace demands become suffocating, or when personal obligations leave you feeling drained. In those moments, strategic withdrawal is your lifeline. It's the reset button that allows you to pause, reflect, and come back stronger. This doesn't mean isolating yourself indefinitely or avoiding your responsibilities. It means creating healthy boundaries that safeguard your mental and emotional health. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. Maybe you were juggling too many tasks at once, or perhaps you were dealing with a toxic relationship that left you feeling emotionally exhausted. What if, instead of pushing through and forcing yourself to keep going, you had taken a step back? What if you had given yourself permission to pause, to breathe, and to reassess? That pause could have been the difference between burnout and resilience, between making a rash decision and choosing the right path. Walking away from negativity without feeling guilty is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Many people struggle with this because they fear being judged or misunderstood. But prioritizing your peace and happiness is not selfish. It's necessary for your growth. When you choose to withdraw from situations that no longer serve you, you create room for new opportunities, new connections, and new experiences that align with your values. Strategic withdrawal also teaches you patience and acceptance. Sometimes, progress isn't about constantly moving forward. It's about knowing when to pause and let life unfold naturally. When you take a step back, you give yourself the chance to observe, to learn from your experiences, and to gain a deeper understanding of yourself. You become more aware of your patterns, both healthy and unhealthy, and you're able to make more conscious choices moving forward. This awareness extends to all areas of your life. You begin to recognize which relationships uplift you and which ones drain you. You see which habits contribute to your well-being and which ones hold you back. And most importantly, you learn to listen to your intuition. When something feels off, you don't ignore it. You trust yourself enough to take a step back and evaluate the situation. Practicing strategic withdrawal can be as simple as taking a break from social media, limiting your time with people who drain your energy, or saying no to commitments that don't align with your goals. It can mean spending time in nature, journaling, or meditating to reconnect with yourself. These small acts of withdrawal add up, creating a life that is more intentional and fulfilling. The key to mastering strategic withdrawal is understanding that it's not about avoidance. It's about alignment. It's about making sure that the energy you give out is matched by the energy you receive. When you withdraw from what no longer serves you, you make room for what does. You create space for growth, healing, and transformation. And in that space, you find the clarity and strength to move forward with purpose. When you master the art of withdrawal and embrace the power of silence, you learn a vital truth. Progress does not need to be loudly proclaimed. We live in a world where people feel the need to constantly talk about their goals, announce their achievements, and seek recognition at every turn. Social media platforms thrive on this culture of oversharing, where even the smallest victories are broadcast to the world. But true growth, the kind that transforms you from within, doesn't happen under the spotlight. It happens quietly, in the moments when no one is watching. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Buddhism teaches the importance of humility and patience, emphasizing that the journey is more valuable than the applause. When you focus on silently working toward your goals, you remove the unnecessary pressure of external expectations. You don't need anyone else's approval to feel accomplished, because you know that real success is measured by the effort you put in, not by the number of people who acknowledge it. When you let your results speak for themselves, you're no longer distracted by the desire for immediate gratification. Instead, you stay committed to the process, knowing that genuine success takes time and consistency. Consider the power of silent progress. Think of a tree growing in the forest. It doesn't shout for attention or demand recognition. It simply grows, steadily and silently, its roots sinking deep into the earth and its branches reaching toward the sky. Over time, its growth becomes undeniable. The same principle applies to your own life. When you dedicate yourself to quiet, consistent effort, your progress will naturally become visible. Others will see the changes in you, not because you've announced them, but because they're too significant to ignore. This approach cultivates a deep sense of inner confidence. When you're no longer seeking external validation, you develop a stronger connection to yourself. You learn to trust your instincts and rely on your own judgment. Even when others doubt you or fail to acknowledge your efforts, you remain unfazed because you know your worth doesn't depend on their opinions. This kind of self-assurance is rare in a world that thrives on comparison and competition, but it's precisely what sets you apart. Letting results be your loudest voice also protects your dreams from unnecessary interference. When you keep your ambitions private, you shield them from criticism, doubt, and negativity. Sharing your plans prematurely can sometimes drain the motivation needed to see them through. The excitement of telling others can create a false sense of accomplishment, making you feel as though you've already achieved something when, in reality, the work has just begun. By keeping your goals to yourself, you preserve your energy and focus, allowing your dreams to mature without external distractions. Silence gives you the freedom to experiment, to make mistakes, and to learn without the fear of judgment. When you're not constantly seeking feedback or approval, you become more willing to take risks and explore new possibilities. You understand that failure is not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural part of growth. And because you're not performing for an audience, you can embrace failure as a valuable teacher rather than a source of embarrassment. This mindset shift is liberating. It allows you to approach your goals with a sense of curiosity and wonder rather than pressure and stress. You're no longer racing against others or trying to prove yourself. You're simply on a journey of self-improvement, driven by a desire to become the best version of yourself. And as you progress, you'll notice something remarkable. The people who once doubted you will start to take notice. But by then, their validation won't matter to you. You'll be too focused on your own growth to care about their opinions. One of the most profound lessons in this journey is discovering the freedom that comes from not reacting to every situation. Life is full of triggers, moments that test your patience, challenge your emotions, and tempt you to respond impulsively. But when you learn to pause and choose your response, you gain a level of control that most people never achieve. Instead of being a slave to your emotions, you become their master. Buddhism emphasizes the practice of mindfulness, which teaches you to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When something triggers you, your initial instinct might be to react, to defend yourself, to argue, or to retaliate. But mindfulness invites you to pause, take a deep breath, and reflect. Is this reaction necessary? Will it bring you peace, or will it escalate the situation? Most of the time, you'll realize that silence is the wiser choice. Choosing not to react doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or ignoring important issues. It means responding with intention, rather than being controlled by your impulses. It's about understanding that not every situation requires your energy, and that some battles are best left unfought. When you refrain from reacting, you conserve your emotional and mental resources, allowing you to invest them in things that truly matter. This practice is especially valuable in relationships. Many conflicts arise not because of the issues themselves, but because of how we react to them. When you respond impulsively, you often say things you don't mean, creating tension and misunderstandings. But when you pause and approach the situation with a calm and thoughtful mindset, you foster better communication and understanding. You give yourself and the other person the space to reflect and find common ground. Non-reactivity also protects you from being manipulated by others. There will always be people who thrive on provoking reactions, whether through criticism, gossip, or negativity. They feed off your emotional responses, using them to gain control over you. But when you choose silence, you deny them that power. You show them that you are not easily swayed by their tactics and that your peace cannot be disturbed. This doesn't mean you ignore everything or avoid confrontation altogether. It means you choose your battles wisely. You know when to speak up and when to remain silent. You understand that your silence is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength. It shows that you value your inner peace more than the temporary satisfaction of proving a point. Over time, this practice of non-reactivity becomes second nature. You develop a sense of emotional stability that cannot be shaken by external events. You no longer feel the need to react to every opinion, every insult, or every challenge. Instead, you observe, reflect, and respond only when it serves your higher purpose. This is true freedom, the ability to navigate life with a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that you are in control of your own mind and emotions. As you continue to embrace silence, focus on your inner growth, and master the art of strategic withdrawal, you'll find that life becomes less overwhelming. The noise of the world will fade into the background, and what remains is a deep, unshakable sense of peace. You'll realize that you don't need to shout to be heard. Your actions, your progress, and your presence will speak for you. And that, in itself, is the most powerful statement you can make.